Hi guys, Becky here from Quinny's Glitzy Tumblers. I'm back again to give you guys another great tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day peekaboo. I'm super excited. I have a lot of great glitter colors chosen and lined up for you guys to use, as well as spray paint colors. The great thing about this peekaboo cup is you can really just make it your own. You can choose your own glitter colors, your own spray paints. And place them the way you like to place them, place the cup files how you want to, size them how you want to. So all of the products will be linked below in the description, as well as the cup files for all the hearts. So yeah, I'm super excited to do this with you guys. I'll get right into it, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off. My tumblers are sanded, washed, and prepped. And I'm going to start off by going ahead and spray painting with the Rust-Oleum Berry Pink, and I'm going to go ahead and spray paint my tumblers the berry pink, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have prepped my tumbler, sanded, washed, and spray painted my tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and apply my glitter using the epoxy method. So the glitter that I'm going to be using today for the peekaboo is Peachy Olive Glitter, Briar Rose, Rudolph from Peachy Olive Glitter. I love this red. I chose a really pretty purple, and this is Teague from Peachy Olive Glitter, as well as Dreamer from Peachy Olive Glitter. And the last one, which is one of my favorite pinks to use, is Flamingo. It's a pearlescent, really pretty pearlescent pink, light pink. Flamingo by Peachy Olive Glitter. So these are the colors that I'm going to be using to do my peekaboo on my tumbler. So I'm going to go ahead and start by using the epoxy method. You will only need about 5 milliliters total of epoxy. And you will just smooth that over your tumbler, very thin layer, smooth it over your tumbler, and then we will apply the glitter. Okay, so I have my cup here. I'm going to go ahead and do the epoxy method. I'm actually using leftover epoxy. I just epoxied some of my cups. So I'm going to go ahead and work that onto my tumbler. I'll try to work fast because it's starting to get warm. So we're going to work this all over my tumbler, make sure my tumbler is completely covered. Working slow. Okay, now that I am done applying the epoxy, I let it sit for just a minute so that the epoxy could kind of even out around my cup, so I didn't have those lines when I applied my glitter. So now that I applied the epoxy, I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of paper. That way I don't waste. I like to make sure that my glitter, any fallout falls on here, and I put it back into my container. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose different areas, and I'm just going to randomly place these. And this is going to be where my heart stencils go. So I'm just going to randomly place these around the cup. And I'm going to do a big decent layer just to ensure that the stencil of the heart has all the same colored glitter in it. So there's that. I'm going to go over again. Now you can put your turner or your tumbler on your turner if that's easier for you. For me, it's not easier only because I tend to waste more glitter, and then it's just a hot mess. It all runs around. Some people, it's way easier to do that for. For me, not so much. I like to just do it like this by hand, and then I just put it on my drying rack. Okay, so I'm just going to choose little areas. And I'm just going to randomly place them. And I'm just making the areas where I'm pouring the glitter just big enough so that I could fit my stencils in here, my cut files on here, without there being several different colors. And it's totally up to you how big you want your hearts to be. So you size your stencils, your heart stencils, the way that you want them, how big or small you want them, and just pour your glitter accordingly. Okay, so there's the pink. I reused I recycled a Hobby Lobby glitter container. I think that's my only one that has a Hobby Lobby glitter container. I ran out. Okay, so I'm gonna put my glitter back in. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that one open. And then what I also like to do is, let's see if I can find my scissors. What I like to do is, after I'm done pouring each color individually, I like to take a pair of scissors or something metal, and I like to tap off the excess glitter. As you can see, there's still more fallout. And this just ensures that I don't mix my glitters when I put them back into my containers. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next color. Now I'm using Rudolph from Peachy Olive Glitters, and all of these glitters will be in my description, linked in my description. And I used a pink base for my glitters only because it's perfect. They're all along the lines of a red pink base, so it's perfect. It really brings out the pinks in each color. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna keep going. And like I said, you are free to put your glitter spots wherever you would like. And I'm just re-pouring over the sections that I'm doing just to ensure that there's no blank spaces still open. So I don't see, so that I don't see any of the underneath tumbler. We're not going outside right now. In a little bit, okay? Mommy's working. Okay, I'm just gonna tap off the excess of Rudolph, and I'm gonna place that back in its container. And these are just the colors that I'm using. You can choose any colors you would like, but these to me were just the perfect Valentine's Day colors. The next color that I'm using is Peachy Olive Glitter, Briar Rose. So I'm going to continue with the next color. My son is the clingy one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tap off my excess glitter from Briar Rose. What, Quinn? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and go in with my Teague from Peachy Olive Glitters. Now, I like, when I cut my cut files, I like to do 2 different sizes. I'll usually do one bigger size for the bigger sections, and then I'll do like a smaller heart cut files. And I just like this because it gives it a little bit of depth. Makes it a little more creative on my part. Okay, so I tapped off the excess of teak. I'm gonna put it back in its container. This teak container is overflowing. I just got some more. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with Dreamer by Peachy Olive Glitters. Okay, I'm going to top off the excess of my Dreamer. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a filler glitter. And what the filler glitter does is it fills in all the spots that are still bare. And just in case your cut file happens to go over a little bit outside of the glitter that you poured, if your cut file happens to go over a little bit, all the filler glitter does is ensure that when you pull up your Peekaboo, that it is all completely glittered. So I'm going to go ahead and go in, and I'm using a cheap glitter because I didn't want to waste any of my expensive glitter. So I'm just using the Cherry Recollections from Michaels. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with this, and I'm just going to completely cover the rest of my tumbler. Now, you don't have to do this. You can totally skip this step if you would like, so that you don't waste a ton of glitter. But what the filler glitter also does for you is all these sections that are already glittered are raised a little bit. So they're not flush with the tumbler. The filler glitter is going to ensure that when you go over with your epoxy, that it's all flush and the same level. So you don't have to apply 2 layers or 3 layers of epoxy opposed to just, the one. You're just basically going to be using less epoxy. So I'm just going to go in with the filler glitter, and I'm just going to fill in all the blank spots. So this is it. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then I'll be back and we will do a couple layers of epoxy and spray paint it. Thank you. I have multiple tumblers that I'm doing, so I'm going to go ahead and go in and do a couple that are just all one color. And this will make all the peekaboos the same color. So I'm just doing this, making some for Valentine's Day, getting ready to pre-sell tumblers. You can never be too prepared. Better late than never. So I'm going to go in with several of these colors, and I'm just going to do one solid color for the peekaboos as well. And this is just an alternative if you didn't want to do a million different colors. Okay, now I am on my design space. I'm gonna go ahead and hit upload image. And the file that I have created is an SVG. That way it is all broken down. I'm gonna go ahead and open the file. I'm going to save it to my computer. And here it is. I actually did it right before this, so that's why you see two. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit it and click insert image. And it's going to insert it onto my design space. Okay, so I went ahead and sized this. You can see that some of these are about 1/2 inch thick, some of them are closer to 1 inch thick. But the fact that I made all of these files, these heart files, different sizes, is perfect because you won't have to cut it out and then go resize it and recut it out. There's different sizes on this all together, so you won't have to worry about that. I went ahead and sized it. Here's my sizing if you want to look at it. But this looks pretty good to me because some of them are 1/2 inch, 1 inch. They all vary. Some of them are a little less than 1 inch, like the ones in the middle of these. But like I said, you guys can see that as an SVG, all of the hearts are broken up. So when I click on this, I can take away the inside of this and just use the outside. It's all preference how you would like them. You get to choose what you would like. Like I said, these ones are outlines. These ones are double peekaboo. So you can do both of these as peekaboo. You can do just the center as a peekaboo and the outside as an outline. It's completely up to you. These ones right here are the only ones that I made where the heart fits exactly inside of this. So if you were to use the inside of the heart as a peekaboo and peel it off, you could use this as an outline, and this fits exactly outside of this. Okay, so I like how these sizes are, and I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it. I'm not gonna separate any of the hearts because I can do that myself when I get out of design space. So I'm gonna go ahead and come down here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just weld it. And what welding does is it ensures that these hearts right here don't cut out as individual little pieces. But like I said, all of these you can separate by yourself after they're cut. The only reason why it is an SVG is in case you wanted to take out the centers of these or take out the outlines and then weld it. So I went ahead and welded it. So here's my image. It's ready to cut. I'm gonna go ahead and come over here and make it. And as you can see, we have all of our cutouts right here. Perfect at our hand. I love the sizing that I did. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out on my Cricut design space. And I'm just going to be using a holographic vinyl. So I'm just gonna put the vinyl cut on heavy. Okay, so I went ahead and I have 4 tumblers, total, including this tumbler, the one that I'm going to do multicolors on. And I also have this tumbler that's really pretty. That was the Briar Rose by Peachy Olive. Those two still need another layer of epoxy for me to be able to spray paint over them smooth. But these two right here, I have one that is Dreamer by Peachy Olive. And then the other one I have is Flamingo by Peachy Olive. And both of these got 2 layers of epoxy and are sanded and washed and completely smooth. So these I'm going to go ahead and work on and show you guys what I do. I went ahead and opened my cut files, my heart cut files, and I chose to use this really shimmery, pretty, holographic, sparkly vinyl. And this is just the Cricut vinyl. This one is just the silver. I got this wrong one by accident, but the silver is what I wanted. This one comes with a multi-pack, which actually has red and yellow in it, but I don't want to use those. So I went ahead and cut out, I sized my hearts how I wanted them, and I went ahead and I cut out one pretty vinyl one, and these are going to be the actual outlines when I'm finished with the tumbler. This is my one of my last steps, and I went ahead and cut out the same exact size in this white vinyl, and this was just a cheap white vinyl, so I didn't care about wasting it. But I went ahead and did this, and the white vinyl, what I'm going to use this for is the actual peekaboos. So I'm going to place some of these on. I'm going to choose the centers I want and outlines I want. I'm just going to alternate all around the cup. But a lot of these cut files, as you can see, the hearts, they have an outside and an inside. Now it's up to you. So I printed the same exact thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the stencil for the peekaboo. I'm going to go ahead and do the center, and then when I'm done spray painting and peeling off this, I'm going to do the outline with this one. So as you can see, I did them to where you can pick and choose what your outlines are going to be and what you like. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to place these randomly all over the cup. I'm not going to start with this yet because like I said, I want to leave this really pretty one for the actual outlines of the peekaboo. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm just going to use my weeding tool, and I'm going to pick what I want, and I'm just going to randomly place it all over my tumbler. Let's see, I'm going to do this one. Let's see if I can get this up. And I'm just going to lay these by hand. There's no point in me really wasting transfer tape, I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and do the centers of these ones, and then once I pull that up, I will have an outline to that. Okay, so for the darker pink one, I went ahead and chose Candy Pink I'm going to go ahead and spray all over the top of this. I went ahead and made sure that all of the vinyl decals were pressed down in order for me to do a beautiful peekaboo later. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spray this a candy pink color. And then this lighter one, the flamingo pink, I went ahead and chose to do a white spray paint base, and then I'm going to go over with the candy pink on the top and the bottom to accent it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Make sure this is shaken up really good. Okay, so I'm just weeding off the decals, all of the peekaboos. This is what I've done so far. And there's this one. Now you can definitely make your peekaboos a lot bigger. You can size the cut files a little bit larger, however big you want, so that more glitter shows through. But I personally like the little dainty hearts. But it's all preference. You can totally make them bigger so more of the glitter shows through. I like little dainty simple things. So I'm just weeding the last of these hearts. Then we're going to go ahead and do the outlines to the hearts. And again, we're just going to pick and choose which outlines we want to add to it, which outlines we want to leave, which peekaboos we want to leave alone. Okay, so there we have it. All the peekaboos are done. And once we get epoxy over this, you'll be able to see the glitter a lot more. You'll be able to see it shine a lot more. So I'm just continuing to do the outlines of these. Just picking and choosing what I want on them. Which pieces I want to leave out, which pieces I want to add to it. And you're going to do this just all over your cup. As you can see, I have a couple here. Some of them I'll leave, some of them I'll add stuff to. It's just all preference, really. Whatever you like. But the great thing about this file is you get to really just choose what you want to do. So I put that one in the middle. You get to choose what you want to do. Be creative. And like I said, you could totally make these hearts bigger peekaboos, so that way more of the glitter is showing. I just prefer really small, dainty peekaboos. I don't know. That's just how I am. So okay, so here we are. I went ahead and completed both of my peekaboos. I did outlines on some, I did centerpieces on some I left alone, but all of them super cute. Here we are. So now I'm gonna go ahead. I have both my cups, and I decided to put this Be My Valentine. I have this and a background for it. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my cup. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and epoxy and sprinkle some extra glitter on there and make it extra glittery. So let me just cut some of this vinyl, or some of this transfer tape. So we're just going to be doing some wording on there now. Of course, I don't have my scraper. I'm going to be sprinkling glitter on them. The glitters that I chose to sprinkle are Peachy Olive Babe. It's a chunky mix, very pretty. And I'm also going to be sprinkling on Tesla from Galactic Sugar Company. And you can find them on Etsy. I absolutely love this silver. And then I'm also going to be putting some heart shapes. I know that Galactic Sugar does have Valentine's heart shapes. So if you jump on their Etsy, you can definitely find something for Valentine's Day. But these little bottles, I actually got in the dollar section at Target, and I walked past them last year and I was like, oh my gosh, how perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and put, sprinkle some of those as well on there, very lightly, very, very lightly. I'm not gonna go overboard with the glitter or anything. I'm just gonna sprinkle this really lightly, top and bottom, and then sprinkle the hearts kind of in the middle. So we'll see how it turns out, and I will be right back. Okay, so I mixed all my epoxy, and now I am putting a layer of epoxy on my cups, getting them ready so that I can sprinkle some beautiful glitter on these. And as I'm putting the epoxy on, my peekaboos are starting to pop and starting to sparkle back up. Very pretty. So I'm just applying a very thin, even coat to these. Nothing too crazy, because I'm going to be sprinkling glitter over the top of it. So I don't want that epoxy to saturate all that glitter and make it dull. Okay, so I have a little bit of extra epoxy. What I'm going to do with that extra epoxy is I'm going to mix in some glitter. And if you are ever wondering what to do if you have epoxy left over, I have these amazing bracelet molds. And every time I have leftover epoxy, all I do is stir in a little bit of glitter with my epoxy, and I pour it in there, and I get these really pretty bracelet molds. And they're keychain bracelets for your keys. So if anybody's ever wondering, super easy to make. I love them, love them. Okay, I'm just gonna pour in a little bit of my Babe from Peachy Olive. And you can use any glitter you'd like, whatever brand you like. I just really, really love the shimmer that Peachy Olive glitters give. I love it. But I am in no way, shape, or form affiliated with them. I do not get paid for using their products. They're just glitters that I like. I really love them, and I always rave about them, because even though they're a little on the pricier side, they're so worth it. And you can 100% tell the difference between their glitters and other glitters. Okay, so I stirred in a little bit of glitter. And this is just my leftover epoxy. So I'm just gonna pour it right into this mold right here. So I'll scoop this over. And I just pour it slowly into the mold and turn the mold as I go until it's completely full. And this is a fabulous way to not waste your leftover epoxy, still use it for something, and it's another thing you can sell on your shop. They're so handy to have. Just waiting for all of this to fall back in. And I kind of just go around the rim and I scrape it and make sure that all this epoxy goes in there. And it's really nice. A lot of the time I mix extra epoxy just so that I can make these bracelets at the end, because they're really great sellers and it's just super easy and fun to do. I got a lot of custom orders for these keychain bracelets this Christmas. Everybody loves them. I made one for myself, and I'm going to be honest, as a mother of 2 toddlers, oh my goodness, I love my keychain bracelet. No fumbling for keys, no trying to find your keys in your purse. It is already around your wrist and you don't have to worry about a darn thing. And as a mom, you know, usually we're struggling to get our kids in the car seats, kids in the car, back and forth, and no more of that. I don't even have to worry about it. My keys are always on my wrist and I never lose them. I never set them down because God knows I have mom brain more than half the time. I have mom brain bad. How many of you have mom brain? Okay. So I used most of it. There's a tiny bit at the very bottom, but I'm not going to worry about that. My epoxy is already heating up. It's getting pretty thick, so. Okay, so there we have it. There is that. I did a couple little drips of epoxy. Let me wipe that up with my gloves. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set my bracelet mold aside so that can do its thing. Throw my gloves away, and now we are gonna go move on to our sprinkling glitter. So let me move these little trays. By the way, I know I've told you guys before in my last video, but these trays are from the 99-cent store. You can get a pack of them. Usually they have packs of 2s or 3s. Super easy, catches all the epoxy that drips, if any. I love them. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab a piece of paper to put underneath my tumbler. That way it catches any excess that falls. And I'm gonna go ahead and go over this with my torch, just to pop any unwanted bubbles. Just real quick, going over it. Let it rotate one time around. I'm going to do this one as well. I just want to pop any unwanted bubbles. I hate seeing those bubbles once it's cured. Let these just spin one time around and pop these darn things. Now be careful. If you're close to your cup with your torch, make sure that you're moving it very quickly. Otherwise, if you have your torch close up to your tumbler and you're popping bubbles slowly, that's how you get those ripples in your epoxy. You don't want that. So either hold it very far away in slow motion, or if you're doing close up, just hit it real quick. Believe me, it doesn't look like it, but that heat is hitting your tumbler and popping all those bubbles. Okay. So that is it. Now I'm going to go in, and I got these little spoons. I can't even remember what company sent them to me. They were like an extra little doodad that I got with them. But I grabbed my little spoons. Let me set this aside. So first, I'm actually going to start with these little glitters that I got in the dollar store section of Target. I'm going to start with these little shapes, and I'm going to sprinkle these in the middle. I'm pouring it in my hand. That way I have more control, and I'm only grabbing 1 or 2 pieces at a time, okay? I don't want a whole heck of a lot of these. I just want them randomly placed. If you're looking for any Valentine's Day heart shapes, I know that Galactic Sugar Company does have Valentine's heart shapes right now. Galactic Sugar Company is on Etsy. You can find them on Etsy. And I'm just doing a couple of these little hearts. Like I said, nothing too crazy. And if you happen to get a heart or something or glitter where you don't want it, I'm trying to avoid putting it on the actual Peekaboo hearts. But like I said, if you happen to get it on there, no big deal. Just grab your popsicle stick. I prefer to use a clean popsicle stick, and you can just move them around to where you want. The epoxy is not cured yet, so we don't have to worry about it not settling. Just move them where you want right now while the epoxy is still wet, and then as it cures, it will smooth out. or as it rotates, it will smooth out. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this. And I'm just grabbing one at a time. I'm not even, these are just little heart shapes that I thought were super cute. And like I said, I got them last year in the dollar section at Target. So it's nothing expensive. It's just really cute. It just gives it that extra little cute look to it. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with that for the most part. One here. And I'm very strategically placing these. I'm placing them where I want. If there's an open spot, I'm trying to fill it in. Just because these heart shapes, I don't want them to overlap onto my peekaboos. I want them to just be here and there, not everywhere. I sound like Dr. Seuss. Here and there and everywhere. Okay, now I have these ones from the dollar store. I'm going to put on this darker hot pink one. Sorry, the sun is shining through my window, so you guys are getting a nice, awesome glare on this one. Oh, there goes that. I just dropped one at the very bottom, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to pick another spot for it. Okay, these are super cute. I love it. And this has two heart shapes in it. I'm trying to just choose the one. I like the outlines of the hearts better than the centers of the hearts. Looks like they have different, looks like they cut out the centers to these. No big deal. I can weed through this. Let's see. I saw a spot. Where were you, Spot? And you could even grab a set of tweezers to do this. I'm just making sure to push these down because they are a little bit stiff. They're stiffer little glitter. Okay, I think that's enough. I didn't want too many of these on there, so I think that's enough for now. Pick up my glitter. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the tops back on these. That way I don't accidentally have a spill like I always do. So now I have my little spoon and I'm going to open up the large side of my glitter, and I'm just barely getting any on the spoon because I want to really, let me start at the bottom since my paper's at the bottom. I really just want to evenly sprinkle this, nothing crazy on here. And I'm trying to do it outside of the peekaboo. I'm trying not to get it in all these peekaboo hearts. Okay, now I'm going to move my paper to the top, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just very lightly sprinkle. Oh well. Okay. So now that I'm done sprinkling those, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run my finger around the rims of these cups and around the bottom, and that ensures that the chunky doesn't dry sticking out straight up. You hate when the epoxy dries and has that sharp piece of chunky glitter sticking out that you have to put a million layers of epoxy over and really buff out. So I'm going to go ahead and put a glove on, and I'm going to run my finger around the tops and the bottoms, so that way we don't have any chunky glitter sticking straight up. And if as these are going I see a piece of chunky glitter standing straight up, I'm just going to lightly pat it down. Make sure that it's laying completely flat. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, that's it right there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let these dry. I'm gonna do a flood coat on these. So I'm gonna let this sit for about, this is a fast set epoxy. I'll let these sit for about 2 hours, and then I'll come in and I'll do another coat on them. And then after that's done, I'll go ahead and see if there's any chunky sticking up, anything, and I might sand and do one more layer if need be. I shouldn't need another layer just because these turned out pretty smooth, but let me go ahead and take you off of here and turn you around so you can really see these. Okay, so here we have it. These are our beautiful Peekaboo Valentine's Day cups. They turned out so pretty. I could not be happier with them. And here's this one over here. And I have 2 more going. I just laid another, this is going to be the multicolored one, and then this is the Briar Rose one, but they're waiting for their last layer of epoxy to dry, and then I can spray paint them and decal them. But that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment, thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see more fun tutorials. Please leave your feedback, and I will see you next time.